If you want to hear a pretty good sum up of what happened in World War I, you can watch the Bill Wirtz video.
Yeah.
The short history of nearly everything. Because I was going through, and I had to like consult Wikipedia to make sure, and I really only got up to like the first 6 months of the war because it was getting too complicated to explain in the Checkpoint story. I was like,
yeah, if you're going for the in-depth World War I historical news, Checkpoint is probably not your first stop. So
no.
I think we're okay.
Watch as I infuriate a bunch of people. I heard or read somewhere that apparently Australia hasn't had a single win at a battle that they've been involved in, like where it's just been them.
Just been Australia?
Just been Australia fighting, like, if there was like an Australian regiment or whatever off doing a thing, they have lost every single one of them.
Oh, I thought that during World War I, they started invading, like, German Samoa, though. Which
Oh, okay.
Maybe,
so they might have got that?
Like, maybe with his mainland Europe wins or something like that, because they certainly didn't win at Gallipoli.
Yeah.
To put not too fine a point on it.
Stop local recording there.
All right. So let's find out if I'm right. I mean, yes, we can count the emus if you want, but I would prefer not to.
We lost to a bunch of emus.
Yes. There was an Australian, I think, on Something Awful forums who said, we celebrate this day, there's a day of the year that we celebrate to honor all of our veterans, and in the process, we are basically honoring the fact that all of our veterans have never won a war. And I'm like, they're still veterans. Like, be nice.
Yeah, like they still went and got shot at and got PTSD.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, if they had one, you'd have something like more to celebrate, I guess, but even
yeah,
just...
but even if you do win, it's a horrible, hollow victory. Like, technically, Canadians really kicked ass at Vimy Ridge. It didn't stop thousands of us from being slaughtered sort of for no reason.
Oh, and especially at Dieppe, we did not do good at Dieppe.
No.
No.
Like, right?
Mm-hmm. So many people still died. War is hell.
Yes, war is awful. Watch Dunkirk, jeez. Australians, yeah, but we're talking about solo Australian victories.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. See, this is how I'm going to piss off everybody in chat. So we'll see you at PAX Australia at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Ah, how exciting.
Suddenly the Australians are going to find one war that they can win.
I've been trying to
all
make
of Australia versus
very
B.
eventful. It won't allow me into the country like with Top Gear.
Mm.
In Argentina, I think it was. But yeah. All right.
All right.
The Australians will remember this, says the man who... Well, I mean, you know what? I have been to your country before, and I have loved my Australian brethren, and I promote your beautiful Australian culture, aka King Gizzard, everywhere. So I demand a hero's welcome when I enter your sweaty homeland.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be summer.
It's gonna be spring.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Graham and I thought it would be like hot all the time because Australia is hot.
Yeah.
Melbourne is not the deserty part, like, because Canadians have, you know how like the world concept of Canada is like 3 people with an igloo in the background fishing, ice fishing. The world concept of Australia is like walking through the desert with Ayers Rock in the background.
Yeah.
And Melbourne is not like that. It was actually quite cold and breezy when we went there because it was spring and it hadn't warmed up yet, and there was lots of rain and there was beautiful rainforest with giant tree ferns and stuff, which New Zealand likes to say that they're the OG country on, but they're not. So we can go check that out. We should go to the Dandenongs when we're down there. Okay. It's a beautiful, like, I think it's a state park. You could just go see wildlife and
like it's not like a sanctuary or anything. It's just literally like there might be just like kookaburras hanging out.
It's like going to the Dandenong Ranges Park. It's like going to Jasper.
Oh, cool.
So there's little towns and stuff stuff to see in there.
All right.
Wait, Canada isn't 3 people in an igloo.
Well, I mean, judging from what you're seeing right now, maybe it is.
My favorite is still the original X-Men movie, where it's just like Canada, and it's one frozen truck stop where they do cage fighting. That is the extent of Canada's depiction in that movie.
And they didn't say like Alberta or like, you know, Jasper.
It's just like
Park.
northern Canada.
It's just northern Canada.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about news.
Yeah.
Oh. So a couple people ask, people are coming to PAX Australia? Yes. Several people are going to be at PAX Australia, including Graham, myself, Beige,
Yes, hi.
and Ben,
And
who's
Ben.
not here for me to point at.
Ben,
Somewhere-
wherever he is.
Somewhere that way. I
Yeah.
think Ben's house is
I
this
think
direction.
you're right, that way. Something,
Yeah.
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 Assuming he's at home.
Yeah. This is bad OPSEC showing everyone where Ben's house is, but yeah.
Well, I mean, we're
Isn't
not
it
doing
like
a
that way?
particularly good job.
Maybe.
We've pointed in four different directions so far.
Ben is all around us.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, I think he's below where we are if we're
That
talking
way,
like level.
that way,
Oh, wait.
that way.
Do you think it's that way?
I think it's that way.
I think it's more that way.
Really?
I'd say that way.
I think it's. Oh, you think it's more that way?
I'll
Okay, I
fucking
do think
find
it's
Ben
that
now.
way.
Anyway. Ben is in a direction from the moon base.
Yeah.
Beige is still on track for the quintuple packs. Yes, Beige might get the all packs.
I think.
You just need to go to Unplugged now, because you've
Yeah.
been to South, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I could quint it if unless Graham decides unless Graham loses his mind and also wants to go to Unplugged.
I'm not the boss of him.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
so
but you do have a controlling partnership, like it's like you both. Not the way that sounds. Holy shit! No, but I mean, like you both get to make a decision together. News.
okay.
Okay, so I think we discussed pretty thoroughly everything that we talked about. War is happening in Eve. I think it's just fun to talk about. But the reason I did that story is because I was like, this is so fucking complicated. This isn't like the real way. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, eh.
One of the interesting things about the that agreement in Eve is that originally there was a provision in the agreement. There was like an NDA included in the agreement.
Yeah.
And so the idea was that both sides would be able to kind of like, oh, the fighting has kind of naturally stopped. And so both sides could kind of save face on it.
Right.
But of course, somebody leaked it to Reddit almost immediately. So that
the
whole
whole thing
process
was discussed by only 10 or 15 people.
Yeah, it was like, and there was a fair amount of consternation on both sides, like both the people who were like, hey, we're giving up all this stuff, and the people being like, we could kill them, like we're going to take them out more.
I've never heard of a war having an NDA though. Like that's nuts.
I
Because
mean,
like if you
Well, no,
might
but
have an
there's,
NDA.
I mean, it's not called an NDA,
Yeah.
but there's certainly, this is essentially like the back channel
Right.
deal, right?
Right. This is their negotiation saying we're going to bring this war to a close between our two parties, and the details of how long our armistice is going to last. I mean, like normally, if you make a treaty, though, I would assume that the treaty's like, oh, by the way, we need to tell everybody what the treaty says, so you all don't go back to war again.
But I mean, they talk about that like, during the Cold War and stuff.
That's
That
fair.
there was all sorts of stuff with like, okay, we don't want to go to war, but both of us have to pretend that we're ready to go to war.
Right. That's fair.
Other stuff. So the Sony the crossplay thing is once again illustrating how Fortnite's insane popularity is actually like shifting. Like they've already done the thing where they're bypassing the Google Play Store.
Yeah.
And now they're doing this thing where they're saying like, okay, we're going to we're basically forcing Sony, because like if they weren't hardline on crossplay, Sony would not be doing this.
Yeah.
So it's neat. It's kind of neat, with all the. I'm not saying that Fortnite is like altruistic or anything.
No.
Because obviously they're doing all this for their own benefit.
Yeah.
But it's cool that Fortnite has such a ridiculous market share that they can throw their weight around and do kind of force these companies that previously have been able to
Take a hard line.
well, they've been able to sort of lay down the law and be like, no, everything has to go through the Play Store. No, we're not doing
here's the
crossplay.
thing. I was reading a lot of comments on stuff like this to sort of gauge community reaction and overwhelmingly positive, except for like a bunch of clowns on the PlayStation blog going, this is not important, do Jack and Daxter. And I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Right?
It's good.
But a lot of people speculating that it's because John Codera is now president and CEO. He's only been president and CEO for about a year. Okay. And so apparently this is probably the first initiative that he's worked on. So they're thinking it was probably the change in management at Sony that precipitated this.
I could see that.
Because you have to remember that Phil Spencer, previous CEO of Xbox, is the one who sort of opened it up to crossplay. Because way back in the day, Xbox was like, no, and Sony was like, yes, because they had cross-platform play with Final Fantasy Online.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was previously that Sony just didn't care.
Yeah.
Like, Sony was like, we're not doing an online thing. You guys can do whatever you want.
Right. Right.
And so various companies had made their own systems. But then now that Sony is actually like, okay, we're doing like a Sony online thing, and we're actually like going to provide some infrastructure.
Yeah.
We don't want anybody else using it.
Which is, I can understand that. I do think that it's interesting that the position they're taking is like, oh, we'll allow this, but we're not going to say anything about future games. I know people are like, oh, but they'll have to do it for Rocket League, and they'll have to do it for like all these other things. I'm like, well, no. Who do you think is going to last longer in this case? Do you think Fortnite is going to last longer? Do you think Sony is going to last longer? And, and my money's on Sony lasting.
Well,
He's basically saying, well, just let Fortnite be the way it is because...
Well, I mean, here's the thing, though. Like, Sony's not deaf. Like, basically, because I said, like, people high up at Sony Interactive Entertainment are talking about, yeah, once we get the kinks ironed out, like, yeah, we're going to look at bringing this to other games.
Sure.
Because it's not just Fortnite. Like, Bethesda has been pressuring Sony a lot. Like, I'm sure Bungie would fucking love it if they could crossplay on between PS4 and PC. Because I know that Destiny moving to PC killed a lot of the PS4 market, right? So Sony has to know that, you know, they have a business incentive to allow this.
Yeah.
Right?
It's one of those nice situations where the desires of the massive corporations happen to be in line with the consumer.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they're all kind of pushing at the same thing to get Sony to do this. And they can be like, look, we're awesome. We're sort of...
If you have multiple game developers coming to the people who make the platform on which your game is being played saying, we want you to open this up, yeah, that's definitely a push.
People at GC, of course, I still love you. She's saying, God, Destiny 2 crossplay, please.
Yeah.
Short round 2099. Andrew, who's just here for the LAN, basically because a bunch of people migrated to PC. If you don't have a PC at home, then you can't play Destiny with friends anymore, which basically means you're not playing Destiny anymore.
Yeah.
Because it went from like 4 very active full clans on PS4 to like everybody's on PC now, as far as I can tell.
I mean, the PC console crossplay thing, especially for first-person shooters, is, regardless of the actual technical thing of doing it, does open up a lot of issues in terms of balancing and stuff.
Yeah, well, they can do it for fucking Fortnite and mobile games. But
I mean, Fortnite is doing the thing where they are they're matchmaking based on controllers.
Yeah.
Like if you were on a console with a controller, it'll prioritize your matchmaking with other people with controllers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're on mobile, they'll prioritize you with other people with mobile.
Right.
Which is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ninja Theory ASRAMs, I mentioned that.
Yeah, and Microsoft was anti-crossplay. Sony, I'd like to think that Sony wasn't really pro-crossplay. They just didn't have any, they were just like, do it yourself if you want to. We don't have a thing.
Yeah.
We don't really have we don't care. All right, the Soul Calibur thing, that's just them being weird.
Yeah, kind of.
It's like when I read the devs thing, I was like, because I mean, maybe it's because I am getting older, but I am also on the side of the devs a lot more than I am on the side of the fans, it seems. But when I read a thing like it's them saying like, well, I went down to, when the fans said, hey, we want her in the game, we want Tara in the game, and he goes down to the devs and he's like, put her in the game, and they're like, F, we already allocated all these resources to do this. Okay, you know what? We'll try to put her in the game. She's really hard to control. She's got really unusual movements and stuff. She is back burner for us. Is how I see this all playing out. And I get to a point where it's like, we're not going to be able to do it. And it's like, you're going to do it. Well, then she's going to have to be DLC. And I think that's what happened here. Is it's like the fans got what they wanted, which was Tira, but it's like you didn't get it in the way you wanted, but you did get it. And that sucks because you got to pay for it, but you weren't going to get her at all.
I mean, then I think and we'll talk about it in the story, but the thing that really annoyed people though was it's like going to be DLC because she's got all this stuff. It's like, oh, okay, that's annoying, but kind of makes sense. And they're like, oh, by the way, she's also like
Free for the weekend.
in the beta, so she's done.
Yeah.
Like it's not like they needed more time to finish
Yeah.
the thing. Like she's done. But
Yeah, but I think it's one of those things where it's like everything we're printing is going to Golden Master or whatever. So she didn't make it to that, but she is available in the beta in the network test because, well, for two reasons. One is that she's done and we need to put her into the game because she's going to be available for day one. But she didn't make it into the Golden Master. But also, too, if we don't network test with her, then we have no idea how she acts in the actual game.
Right, because we didn't test with her when we were testing the game.
Exactly, but she's going to be available day one anyway. And it's like, yeah, this is really confusing, guys. This is a really messed up way to do this.
I do think like the sort of idea of the game producer being like, I heard the fans and I went down to those developers and I was like, hey, put her into the game,
Please.
I think it's probably it's like I always imagine
Self-aggrandizing.
I always imagine like in a grocery store when you see like manager special.
Yes.
That's always like the manager being like, I want this thing on special, and everyone's like, no, sir, we can't put that on that good a deal.
We can't put $2 off a pound of ground beef.
I don't want to hear it.
$2.69 a pound.
No.
Actually, $2.69 a pound. That'd be a good deal for
Really
ground
good
beef.
beef.
But it's like, I don't want to hear it. I'm in charge here, and the people deserve this much. Like
He's gone mad with power.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably it was more of a mutual business decision, but
Yeah.
it's fun to sort of.
Oh yeah, to imagine. Well, what I love too is that he went down to the office and then he asked them, and I'm like, oh, that's so Japanese. Then he went down and he's like, I've heard that they want this.
I've heard that there's a rowdy fan base that wants this
Can we
character.
please deliver? And they're like, I don't think we can, sir. He's like, okay, I'm glad we've had this talk. And they're like, oh shit.
Also, of course, there's also the danger of like, wait, so you can just go down and ask for more? Can we have this other guy?
Yeah,
can we
exactly.
have this guy? Can we have
While you're asking.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. GX Echidna says, you're right, Paul. I demand ground beef and Soul Calibur. And Mangled Pixar says, of course I've gone mad with power. Have you ever tried going mad without power? It's boring. No one listens to you.
Nice. Sounds like a Terry Pratchett line.
Yeah, it does. Holy crap.
We've talked enough about the other stuff. Let's talk about some stories we haven't already talked about. The first one actually on our list is, I couldn't think of a way to make this funny. Sims 4 staffer urges fans to stop attacking and insulting our dev team. People have a lot of complaints with The Sims 4. It launched without pools and toddlers, which, if you play The Sims, apparently was a sin.
I like that those are put together.
What an unusual combination,
Yeah.
pools and toddlers.
Well,
It's like, look, we can have pools and toddlers or no pools and no toddlers, but we can't have one or the other.
Yeah, but it launched without what people considered to be like basic features of The Sims, like babies that didn't immediately turn into grade schoolers. You know, like
Babies that didn't fall into the pool.
Pool, yeah.
Yeah, well, because people used to like to trap their pools in the, trap their Sims in pools
I
and
know.
take away the ladder and let
I
them
used to
drown.
do that too.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so like
Good
that's like
times.
apparently a needed Sims feature. And the people that make The Sims are aware that the game was a little rough at launch, and they've been really trying to do it. But people are like, when's this feature coming? When's this feature coming? And the developers have tried to be open and tried to be like, we're working on it. We just released DLC 3 months ago, which people are saying, yeah, well, we used to get DLC 2 or 3 times a year, which if you do the math is 4 to 6 months
Yeah.
at a time, so that's fine. But the point being, like, the developers are trying to maintain open lines of communication, and most fans are very understanding, but some of them are just angry and rude.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean-
really, really, really needlessly mean. Awful and shitty and
it's
malicious.
like it's sort of like that Jack and Daxter thing you were talking about, right? Where
Yeah.
it's like whenever when you have a situation like that where you're kind of behind the 8 ball in terms of features and stuff.
Yeah.
Every time you announce a feature and be like, look, we added pools, and the comments, rather than people being like, yay,
Hey,
you added
finally.
pools, the
Yeah.
comments would be like, so where are the toddlers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's all the other stuff you owe me?
the Applewood smoked pork effect, says
Yeah,
Holmes
yeah.
49.
So
yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, so stop doing that, please. But I mean, the thing is, it's not all fans. It's just like a very angry, entitled bunch of fans. Because, like, the thing is, their developers are working as fast as they can. They're truly dedicated to improving this game, and a lot of people who've played The Sims are now like, well, Sims 4's actually got some pretty good quality of life improvements over 3. Like, it launched with less stuff, and you do have to pay for it in DLC. Like, that sucks. But they are trying to put the things into the game that you want to put into the game. So stop being rude to them.
Yeah.
Also, regardless of how many times you ask and how many times they answer, you know, if you say, when is this thing coming out, they cannot answer you.
Yeah.
Well, just because, like, they can't make promises.
Yeah,
like,
they're
not allowed.
Both they don't know and they're not allowed to tell you.
Yeah.
As long as we're demanding things, I demand Space Chem 2, says GCU, I still love you. Waluigi fan, says Buckminst. I mean, when's the next Friday Night's coming out?
When we film it.
End of October.
Yeah.
Now
they'll know to expect it.
There's
I mean, they should. Go tell Wizards how much you like Friday Nights.
But we're used to getting them, like, you know, once every month. 12 times a year?
11 times a year, because it's in our contract
right.
that we take the month of November off because
for good reason.
For reasons.
We don't want to die.
Yeah.
So this last week was Minecon, which, as we all know, is the convention for coal miners.
Yep.
To learn all about the new kinds of tungsten carbide drills that they use.
Oh, yeah.
The Minecraft, which resulted in the pandas, that there are pandas in mine. They announced that. And also they announced Minecraft Dungeons, which appears to be like an actual like RPG, like action RPG, but Minecraft.
Diablo feeling kind of.
Yeah, which if you saw the like Minecraft versus thing we did on Saturday.
I did not actually.
I feel like there's got to be a lot of changes to how combat works in Minecraft in order for it not to just be like running in circles, sort of
smashing each other.
Flailing.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, for some reason, I love that every article about this is like, at Minecon, Mojang announced a new role-playing game set in the Minecraft universe, which I guess it is, but for some reason, I never really thought about Minecraft as being like a universe.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because you can make whatever you want. So, but I guess you can make a lot of things in the real world too, like like villager harvesters.
But like, I guess now it's got, you know, since Minecraft has like the story mode stuff has come out and there's like the dragons and stuff, like there is actually kind of like a plot to Minecraft, sort of. Huh. At least a series of things that happen.
And things that you must do in order to beat the game.
Right.
I'm old and I remember when Minecraft was just fucking around.
Yeah.
There's no nether, there's no dragons or Slenderman, or whatever the fuck you do in Minecraft.
Yeah, I remember Dwarf Fortress.
I mean, people are still playing Dwarf Fortress.
They sure are. It probably looks exactly the same.
It does.
Yep. Anyway.
So a couple of people, there's a few things reported on this. The Artifact, the new game.
Oh, this story. Yeah.
Had to change the name of one of their cards that is coming out.
They didn't have to.
Well, they
acknowledged that. Holy crap, you're right.
They well-advisedly changed the name.
Yeah.
Which is nice thing about the digital card game thing is that you can change these things.
Yeah.
You know, something like Magic would have been in a lot of trouble.
That's true.
It's I find this interesting just because of you get these kind of blinders, talking when you're talking sort of mechanically in a game.
Yeah.
There's a card called Crack the Whip, and it affects black heroes.
Yep.
And obviously that starts getting into
black being like the color they're aligned with, heroes being the artifact name for creatures.
Yeah.
So like the same way that Night Veil Spectre in Magic is a black and blue creature, this is a black hero. But as you can see, that has some different connotations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they changed it now to Coordinated Assault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just it's one of those things where you know the people who are designing the game are thinking stuff in terms of just colors.
Yeah.
And there's probably an equivalent card in all the different colors.
Yeah.
And
And then they're just like, oh, we just do one in black. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Right. And I mean, like, in defense, like, obviously, like, yeah, if you say that out loud, of course you're going to be like, huh, that doesn't sound very good because it sounds very bad. But in their defense, they probably named 200 or 300 cards at once.
Yeah.
Yep.
They had probably just sort of just gotten blind to it, right?
Yeah.
And it probably means that maybe their development team isn't that diverse.
Yeah. That's probably also,
Right.
I could see
Or
that.
you need
but-
like a second set of eyes to go along and check things.
Yeah. A set
Or
that's
just
not
to
already
take
actually
a break
working on it.
and then
yeah.
come back like a
Yeah.
few months later and be like, let's check those names over now, right?
Birdo
Yeah.
is going to be joining Mario Tennis Aces.
Yeah, which was interesting because it was like, I think they'd announced that, but then they also said, Birdo, you can win Birdo at a tournament that's being held this October, or you can just wait till November and just get her. And I'm like, neat. Like, I was like, that's interesting. Is it like a DLC thing? Like, are you going to have to pay money for it, but you could win her at the tournament, and then maybe there'll be the things you can unlock characters by winning tournaments during certain times? It's, no, you'll just get her as part of the upgrade. And I'm like, oh, that's okay, cool, I guess. People can play as Birdo ahead of time if they're really into Mario Tennis Aces, but
I'm disappointed that apparently Birdo in Mario Tennis Aces, Birdo makes no use of her
egg shooting?
her like basically being like a tennis throwing machine.
Yeah.
Like a howitzer.
Well,
like you'd think that at least like as like her like
A super?
a super move or something.
Yeah.
Just like screw up and pow.
Yeah, catches the ball and spits it back out again. Yeah. Yeah.
Disappointing.
Lost opportunity.
I love all the lore behind Birdo as well, from like all the way back to Super Mario Brothers 2. But you'd have to go read about that kind of stuff. But yeah, anyway, we won't get into that.
Man, Dark Souls deep diving is like the gift that keeps on giving. Like
Like looking for stuff that's hidden.
how is there so much that is in the game that isn't in the game?
Yeah.
People keep going into like I think this is mostly like one or two people specifically that have been like doing all this, going through the game files.
Okay.
But they keep like, we've done a bunch of CheckPoint stories on just crazy cool things that they found
That have never been actually...
that are not actually in the game, but like the files were there to do it.
Huh.
And the latest thing being that there's a whole thing for environmental, basically like environmental filters or like effects that
Right.
change the skybox and change the lighting
Oh.
in whole areas that are
Triggered
that
by
are called ceremonies.
Okay.
And apparently they use them in like one or two places in the actual game. But there's this whole thing where so it's like there's speculation that maybe it was going to be used for like if you do certain things or do or don't do certain things in the game, then like now this area will be like all scary and dark, or maybe it'll be all like happy and bright, or
Right.
the sky will be red and there'll be a big eyeball up there. So, I don't know,
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, but I feel you, yeah.
But like it enabled them to quite drastically change the feel of areas without actually changing the geometry at all.
Okay, that's cool.
And that was all like there was a quite extensive thing built in, and they barely used it. So I just think that's really cool that Dark Souls, that they keep
Still finding more.
keep finding all this cool stuff in Dark Souls. Clearly, for whatever the next Dark Souls, I'm assuming is being worked on, Dark Souls 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
Clearly, there's a lot of ideas that they were like workshopping that didn't make it into the final thing for Dark Souls 3.
But rather than just carve them out, they're just like, leave them there. It's fine.
Well, because the thing is, like, with sometimes...
You never know what you'll ruin.
Yeah, exactly. Just like if you're working on a game for years and you like code something in, it's better just to turn it off and leave it there rather than delete it in case something else is referencing it that you don't realize something is broken way further down the line.
I said apparently they will not be working on another Dark Souls.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway.
Well, that's okay. Maybe they just held onto the systems for Bloodborne. Maybe.
Randy
Pitchford had a personal assistant.
Oh, man.
Who apparently stole $3 million of Randy Pitchford's money.
And you might ask yourself, well, how is it that somebody can get away with $3 million of your dollars if you know you had $3 million hanging about because he stole it in through embezzlement and stuff through his wife's coffee shop.
Yeah, apparently Randy Pitchford's wife runs a coffee shop and they couldn't make payroll one week and they're like, what the? How is this possible? There must be a bank error. And then they're like, where did all our money go?
Yeah.
And apparently the guy has now gone on the run and he's like a fugitive.
Yeah.
He's also like embezzled money from a bunch of other people.
I like that at the end, Randy was like, other people might be feeling too embarrassed to come forward because they feel like they've been taken for a ride by this guy. But the fact is like, this guy's just going to keep hurting other people. So who's he going to hurt next? And I love that Randy's thing is like, F it. He stole my money. Yes, we trusted him, but that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to trust your employees.
Yeah, yeah, and especially like your personal assistant.
Yeah. I mean, you guys trust me and I have access to the credit card.
It wasn't the game company that got hurt.
No, it was...
except that it sort of caused some issues with like the payroll and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just it's that weird situation where I feel like because of like movies and TV and stuff, like Ocean's 11 or whatever.
Yeah.
There is kind of an idea, a sort of slight romanticism about like the grifter thing. When in actual fact, it's just an incredibly horrible thing to do to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, don't grift.
Yeah. I feel like that's not something that needs to be like told to people. Is like don't steal stuff.
Oh, Crapocracy says I work at a bank. A lot of businesses end up having issues with embezzlement. Bracket usually an assistant or secretary.
Yeah.
If you have Netflix, check out All the Queen's Horses. It's an amazing documentary about the biggest case of municipal fraud, I believe, in the United States history. Basically, the treasurer for this town stole ridiculously huge amounts of money from the town.
Yeah. When my dad was working as a controller at a college in BC, they had a woman working for them who was very trustworthy. She was great at her job. She was very on the ball and everything else like that. And they came in one day and she was gone, and like tens of thousands of dollars had gone missing. And like she'd been spending all this time lining everything up so that the day that she came that she was leaving, all this money was going to go as well.
Wow.
And just like, we're gone.
Did they ever catch her?
I don't know, because we were watching Unsolved Mysteries one night and he's like, oh, her. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, her. And I'm like, I thought these were made up. And he's like, this happened to us. A woman like that. That's exactly who that was. That's probably the exact same woman. I'm like, oh my God, these are real stories now.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. It's not that people set up to be like, it's not like people go into these jobs being like, and in 6 years, I'll take them for a ride.
Yeah.
It's just that like when you work in a big organization, if you do sort of a specialty role, that you might have people that you report to, but they don't like review everything you do, and they might not understand exactly what you do. And if you rightly or wrongly feel that people aren't treating you with respect, it becomes very...
Or you're just not getting paid enough. You're like, nah, they should be paying me more, so I'm going to do this. I'm just going to take this for myself. That is a very real...
And people don't, and people aren't going to notice right away, because it's like, well, you've never done anything bad. Like, you don't steal pens or anything like that.
Yeah.
So... just need to set up transfer software to skim off fractions of a penny.
Yeah, that was Entrapment was a great movie.
Yeah.
And also Office Space, was it?
I think that's the joke.
Yeah.
All right, and finally, Black Ops 4.
I didn't read this or watch this. So
they've just kind of, like, people have been making various, like, goofy videos, like, sort of meme videos with different things happening in Black Ops 4.
Okay.
And they've just been sort of... They've just decided to just like embrace it and officially like that's kind of their ad campaign now is like these weird like little 30-second things of like here's a guy with it's like his hat goes and attacks somebody.
So rather than lean into the whole this is Call of Duty and you are like advanced elite warrior and like they're just like
Black Ops has always been a little bit more the Black Ops series has always been like a little bit more a little bit less serious.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
I just assumed that anything that has Call of Duty stamped on it is that no matter what, it takes itself incredibly seriously. I'm not thinking of it like Saints Row. And I mean, obviously,
it's not that silly, but yeah.
But it's like advanced advanced weaponry, advanced like gadgetry and stuff, I'm sure shows up in Black Ops then. Okay. Huh. I'm trying to think of other things that came out. Oh yeah, one thing I did read on Nintendo Life is that apparently Nintendo will no longer be providing consoles to Amazon France.
What did Amazon France do?
I don't know because I didn't have a chance to read the story. But man, I love that headline.
I got your email, John. I just haven't responded to it yet.
It's like, you know what you did, Amazon France.
Well, that's the thing. They're like, they did something, and now French fans have to go somewhere else to buy their consoles, I guess. I'm like, holy shit, I can't wait to read that later.
They're not like cutting all of France off from Nintendo consoles.
Just Amazon France. And that's what got me. I was like, what did they do? So I can't wait to see it.
So a couple people are asking in chat and have emailed me and have asked Serge on Twitter and stuff, hey, I want to volunteer for Desert Bus. It is too late to volunteer. We have our volunteers all set. We were doing our interviews before PAX. How this works is you say, I want to volunteer for Desert Bus, and I collate.
Back in when?
Back in whenever, like before March. Now for Desert Bus next year.
Yeah.
Like I will save them all, and then basically I'll collate everybody's emails and stuff like that. And if I want more information, I might contact you. And you can work it out. There's definitely some people that I've been like, hey, what kind of things do you know? And then if we have openings on the team, which we had like not many this year, I think it was 3, then I'm like, all right, here's everybody who emailed, and this is everybody who said they were interested in doing this. So you can talk to these people and you can see. And then what we do is we interview some people, we do some hiring, and we put together alternates in case somebody drops out. But that's about it. That's the process, which is well done. Like there's definitely. But
yeah, the Desert Bus staffing and stuff is all done already. So
yes,
it's a far cry from the days when you could just walk in with your guitar and sit down and take over the midnight shift, which is basically what I did.
And now you work here.
Now I work here. So yeah.
What a strange life we live.
Oh,
actually,
God.
Mostly you. Mine's normal. I get up, take care of a child.
That sounds nice.
I take this as all people to your local to yourselves too. No, we have 2 volunteers from Florida this year.
Oh, cool.
We got
some other people from the States, I think.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, we got lots of people from the States coming up and
Anybody
stuff like that.
from anyone across the oceans?
I don't know.
Okay.
They were talking about somebody for the comms team. They were talking to somebody who was in a way different time zone, but I don't know. Out of the people they did go with, I don't know where they're from.
Yeah, we have had people.
Yes, we have.
Oh yes, MAP is coming again.
Yeah, that's
so,
right.
Yeah, so MAP is coming back. We do have people from mainland Europe this year.
Right.
All right.
Bring chocolate. Don't. We have chocolate.
Let's welcome some subs.
All
yeah.
right.
So thanks everybody for watching the Checkpoint, but in particular, thanks to these people. Starting with Tangle Pixie for 19 months. Thank you very much.
Followed by Deltorin 11 for 2 months. Thank you for coming back.
And coming up in 3rd place, it's Togashina Ruta, who's been here for 57 months and is still well within the race.
Jeff Centaur for 8 months, doing well with the 4 legs.
Further back in the pack, Ard Riss for 24 months, celebrating that 2-year anniversary.
And Haven 7 is quickly coming around the outside bend. 61 months there, just don't know when to quit.
Almost Alaska for 33 months is almost in Alaska, which is a shame.
Making a mad dash from the back is PK Jester, who's only 13 months old, is making a real showing.
This day has arrived into the main pack with their sub baby.
Mirnus for 57 months. Way out of there.
And a surprise movement on the outside from Go High Mathy for 4 months.
I'm sorry to report that Io Atta has been here for 35 months but has no chance of winning the race at this point.
E.C. Jones, 1975, is been going for 57 months.
Oh, it's Chess Math for 6 months, who I didn't think would stand a chance here.
Conda 020946 for 10 months, pulling around on the inside leg.
Shiroto for 16 months, way out in front.
It reminds me of when I used to watch Just Me Jude, who'd been around for 20 months and is a hell of a champion.
Zinran for 6 months. What a fabulous pedigree Zinran has.
Bandwidth Raptor for 33 months is an actual raptor, which is an advantage.
Reminds me of the time that we had to watch In Volume take a tumble on the field for 24 months.
Kramberger has leaped hardly over the water hazard and is still within sight of the end line.
Pagan Pilgrim for 7 months has gone on a pilgrimage.
Are we doing a steeplechase?
Yeah, maybe now.
Oh, and historical custodians take a terrible fall and they'll have to shoot him.
That's new subscriber.
Modirin for 2 years. Whoa, good job.
Coming up to the line, it's Wibblesqueak running for 6 months.
Oh my gosh, and across the line, it's my grandma's Amazon Prime who takes the grand championship. 7 months.
Thanks to all the people who made over 2,000 bits for this. Lord Crusher, H-Bomb and Friends, E-Block, W. Nevik, Tomorrow Boy, Strawwathion.
Straw Hat Leon?
Straw Hat Leon.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Okay.
Straw Hat Leon. Kamote Top and Xanos69.
I'll be splitting the pot later tonight.
Hey, speaking of later tonight,
Yeah.
what a good segue. Thanks, Beej.
You're welcome.
But mostly me for coming up with that.
What's coming up later tonight, Kathleen?
Dice Friends is back. We were trying to get everything lined up and make sure that we could do a whole month of spooky stuff for Halloween. That's right, it's October. It's the creepiest month of the year. So we're doing 2 campaigns in October that are all about spooky, creepy, horror things. We wanted to get all that nailed down before he announced it. So starting tonight, we have a brand new campaign run by Cameron. It's a Call of Cthulhu campaign called Music of the Spheres, featuring moi, Serge, Matt Griffiths, who is not known to many of you here, but is doing some work around the office and volunteered to be on the stream, and he's going to do a great job.
Yeah, you may have seen him last week's AFK. He was on as well.
Yeah,
and he ran camera on Tinker Tailor, I think. I don't know if he talked or not, but yeah.
No, and who's the 4th player in that campaign? Beej!
I'm in it too.
Right.
I'm playing a real shitbag,
That's
apparently.
right, you are.
We're all kind of playing jerks.
I'm a CrossFit instructor. I'm very strong.
I'm playing a really tall and gangly Geek Squad tech who's kind of thinks he's better than he really is.
So yeah, it's a really, I'm not going to spoil it because Cam has come up with a really unique and exciting and interesting take on Call of Cthulhu. So please check that out. Dice Friends returns at 6 p.m. tonight.
That's in 3 hours.
Yeah, because we had moved the start time back to accommodate Wizard's schedule on their channel, which was fine and good. But for a lot of us, Dice Friends starting that early means that the whole day is a bit of a wash because we need to start the setup for that early. So for myself, and if Beej was filling in on CheckPoint, we'd basically have enough time to like grab a bite to eat and then go in and start setting up essentially. Yeah. So 6 p.m. tonight. Dared says 2 hours and 50 minutes. We will be having a whole month of spooky games. This is a two-session campaign, and we haven't announced what the follow-up is, but you are going to like it.
Or else.
I mean, or you're not.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what to do. I'm not your boss.
So, keeping, this is going to be at 6 o'clock, and the next couple of Dice Friends sessions will be that. We will be hopefully working with WotC again in the new year.
Yeah.
Or maybe even before that.
Maybe before that.
In which case, the time might change again. So keep an eye on the schedule for future Dice Friends. But right now, it's going to be at 6 o'clock. And I hope that you come and watch it.
Anything else about what's up next? Isn't the Tuesday still a Tuesday? Wednesday still a Wednesday?
Yeah.
We have not changed the days in the week.
There's no other major changes except Dice Friends returning. And if you follow Loading Ready Run on Twitter, we did announce today that Alex has taken a step back from Talking Sim and Let's Nope to focus on some other creative endeavors. But he's still going to be around and still being in stuff, just not on those streams. So we're going to have rotating co-hosts and sometimes no co-hosts. So this week, for Let's Nope, we have Ben and Adam who are playing...
I don't know, actually.
It's written down in our Slack. And this week on Talking Simulator, it is Cameron and Corey is joining him.
Nice.
It's going to be more like Now Kiss, with sort of a rotating cast of friends hanging out and doing things. So.
Yeah, and and speaking, and also with the spoopy stuff, the AFK this month.
Oh, it's also all spooky games.
It's going to be all spoopy stuff. So yeah, keep an eye on the schedule for that. We got all sorts of fun stuff, including I believe we're going to be playing some Betrayal.
Yeah, it's a good thing we unlocked all those zombies in Pandemic Legacy.
And zombies and Pandemic Legacy.
Yep.
Which I guess we would have been doing anyway. But
yep.
So yeah, I hope you enjoy all that stuff, and we will talk to you all in a little bit.
Bye.
Bye.